Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Krysan here as we are presented by LaBerge Casino. TK joining us over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. Stop on by there. Fantastic, great beer, wine, liquor, meats, all kinds of great stuff. And, of course, Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, as I'm in an undisclosed location. Big Hall of Fame quarterly board meeting today. We're going to Lieutenant Governor. Going to talk about some new projects over at the museum. And then we're always presented by LaBerge Casino. LaBerge Casino this past weekend had a lot going on at the Edge Lounge. They had a big National State Louisiana Firefighters Convention, concerts. They had competitions on the lawn outside with the firefighters. It's a pretty big event that they had going on over at LaBerge Battery. Don't forget, stop by Edge Lounge Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. Lots of entertainment at on the casino floor at the Edge Lounge. Today on Sports Shorts, we'll talk a little LSU hoops. Big win last night. LSU baseball, their first of 5 games on the road. They won't be home for a little while. And we'll talk Pelicans. Pels find themselves currently 5th in the West. We'll tell you about them. We'll tell you who's on the bump tonight for LSU baseball and a potential rule change in the NFL that is going to make the NFL kickoff even more stagnant and boring than it already was in 2023. We'll get to that. But first, let's talk a little LSU hoops last night. Even with Casey McKenzie doing what Casey McKenzie does, and that is score a couple of free floor seats to the LSU Georgia basketball game. We nicknamed him the Raven, but he tried to blow a 15-point lead for the Tigers, but LSU ended up winning by 1 nonetheless.
Hey, it's their 3rd straight win by 1 point. They do have the loss in the middle of that to Mississippi State. But, hey, Ronnie, SEC record for LSU is 7-8. They went over the projection, much better than last year. And they play at Vanderbilt this Saturday. And Vanderbilt's a struggling team this year. Even though it's a road game, Matt McMahon's team should get the win. And that would put them at 500 in the SEC. And ain't too many people can say they thought that would happen. So give the Tigers credit. Other than the blowout loss, 3 straight 1-point victories. I mean, that's a good sign for a team that's coming together when you win them close ones.
Yeah, no question about it. What they've done is incredible. 3 games in a row that they've won by 1 point. That's never been done before in the SEC. 3 1-point wins in a row. They did not cover. They didn't cover the last time as well. But a win is a win is a win. They're not at a point in the program where they can worry about trying to win pretty. They just got to get the wins. And they're 7-8. And look, the way they're trending and the way they're playing, they feel like they're an NIT team. They definitely feel like they are an NIT team, Tommy, which postseason, the thoughts of them playing in postseason basketball was not even a blip on the radar just, in December.
I agree with you completely. None of us saw this coming. I'm sure all our colleagues and, maybe a couple of people real close to the program thought maybe there's a chance, but kind of got to give Matt McMahon credit. Just like if they were, 3-12 in the SEC, he'd be getting bashed on a little bit. But you got to give him credit for doing what he's doing. He's had some games when they missed Cook and some other players, and they're piecing it together, which I think is a good sign for the long-term future. But, I agree with you. This team could very well be in the NIT, and that'd be good for the program, good for the players, et cetera.
Yeah, if they can win 2 of their next 3, they're going to finish 9-9 and play. And if they and 9-9 is literally 5.5 games more than what the line was in Vegas on wins in the league this year. So they have far surpassed expectations or even hopes, quite frankly, by LSU fans. Many of which, based on their poor play in November, December, thought this LSU men's basketball team might win, a couple of games like they did last year when they went 2-16. Now they're 7-8 with 3 games left to play. So, hey, a 9-9 season would be a 7-game improvement. That those things don't happen, and would have everybody rowing in the right direction, feeling good about the program, going into the offseason with momentum, with a very good recruiting class and a chance to get maybe some portal players, as well as, hey, who knows what would happen in the postseason. And, any chance you get a chance to play postseason hoops, albeit maybe not the NCAA tournament, That's a good thing for a program that needs some momentum. Their old coach Will Wade getting things done. They won a nail biter the other night on Monday night. They are now 3 losses on the entire season. They're Southland Conference champs. But I still, even as good as they are, 24-3 or something like that is their record. And they still got a couple conference games left to play before I think 2 or 3, got 3 conference games left to play before they get to their tournament. I still feel like they'll probably have to win their tournament. Their preseason schedule was so weak. And even the win against Michigan on the road, as impressive as that is, Michigan's terrible. And they played literally teams that you never even heard of in November. I think they probably have to win their Southland Conference tournament to get in.
I would agree with that, unless a lot of other teams tumble down at the end, or more importantly, other teams that are supposed to win their conference do. Right. And you don't have that surprise team that wasn't going to get a bid unless they won their tournament. Like if Nichols won the Southland, then that would leave McNeese out. So, there's a lot of layers there, but it'll be fun to see how it's going on. And I can tell you this, I got some good friends in Lake Charles, as do you. And the people over there are fired up by Will Wade at basketball. There's no question about that. There's an excitement about McNeese basketball in Lake Charles and in that area that hasn't happened in a while. It'll only be exceeded by the excitement of the Gumbo Gators in the Texas Collegiate League. That will surpass it come May, June, and July, I'm sure.
Hey, listen, it can be McNeese basketball, 9.5 months out of the year, and Gumbo Gatorland the other 2.5, right? Speaking of the Lake Charles Gumbo Gators, who are a first-year team coming into the Texas Collegiate League this summer, of course, they'll be in the same division as the Acadiana King Cutters and our Baton Rouge Rougarou. We spent the last couple of days with them with some sales training and whatnot with the Acadiana and Gumbo Gators, and they're a good group. I wish them nothing but the best of luck and enjoy competing against them this year and in the future. But the Will Wade story will be interesting to watch in the offseason, because I personally, if I was a team out there looking for a basketball coach, would go get him. Who cares about the 60 minutes thing or whatever from 5 years ago, a damn strong offer on audio tape, when now none of that matters. But the guy can recruit and the guy can coach basketball. He won at LSU. He's won everywhere he's been. And for him to do what he's done at McNeese and turn that program around as quickly as he has and be the dominant force in the league that he is, they gave him a contract extension. They bumped his pay up to $700,000 next year and beyond. I'm sure they're even going to, maybe some boosters might even pay him under the table, but they're not going to be able to compete with a team that goes out there and give them, 5 years, $3 million a year type of thing guaranteed. I hope Will Wade, for the McNeese, for my McNeese friends, stays in Lake Charles. I just don't see why he would, nor why he should. I think if you're a team out there, go get this guy.
I agree with you. I go back a couple of years when I was hosting Skip Bourbon's radio show. We were at Sammy's Grill in Highland. Will Wade came in there with his family and sat by Coach Bourbon and Dan Canterbury and I. And it really wasn't basketball talk. It was just, family and food and Louisiana and Baton Rouge. And I remember thinking he was a pretty cool guy. And again, there's no X's and O's and all that stuff. I remember thinking he was a pretty cool guy. We all sat and visited for a little while. He didn't come on the show that night because his family was with him. But I remember that and I remember then thinking, aside from basketball, he seems like a pretty cool guy.
Well, fun. It'll be a fun March as well. We watch LSU basketball, and those of us that will turn our attention also and pull for the Cowboys. LSU baseball. What a difference a couple decades makes. Coach Berkman, the old, everything is about money. Everything's about budgets. Everything's about, especially when he was a coach, had to make chicken salad out of, the saying. I found it interesting that the LSU baseball team left for Houston on Monday afternoon. They got on a bus, or buses. They potentially. They went to Houston. They stayed at a hotel Monday night, even though they don't play till Wednesday night. Look, LSU baseball can afford it. We know that. It's just funny to me. I mean, that they would do that. It's just, I guess, when you got so much money, you got to spend it, right? And hey, let's take them on the road. But that was fun, interesting. That would never ever have happened under regimes.
That reminds me of I'm going to take you back a couple of years. You remember when you told the Skip Bertman weed story on the TV show on YouTube? Well, a couple of friends, like last week of mine, had never seen that. So I sent them the link. And of course, I watched it again. And you talked about how Paul Maneri would have never stayed in a La Quinta, which is, right, Spanish for next door to Denny's. And Coach Bertman, and you had that 8 Lincoln Town cars, and you had a rent in Lexington or Cincinnati, wherever that was. So, yeah, you're right. It's a different world. But, LSU baseball is LSU baseball. They can play at 2 o'clock if they want. They can leave Monday for a Wednesday game 4 hours down the road if they want, right? 2 buses, not 1. Surprised they didn't fly over there. I guess 4 hours. What's it, 6 hours to cut off for flying? If you can drive there less than 6.
Not sure if they really even have a rule like that, Tommy, but maybe. But no, I found it interesting because they'll practice today over at Rice. Don't know what time or anything, but they'll practice.
And Rice is 3 and 4, so we'll see what happens with that. This is not the Rice of when Coach Graham was there and many other great players were there.
Rice did win 2 out of 3 against the Raging Cajuns this past weekend in Lafayette. They pitched well against the Cajuns. Cajuns said it was a low scoring series. But no, you're right. This is not Rice of Matt Anderson days in 1997 when he threw 100 miles an hour and he made a mistake and threw hung a slider to Brandon Larson, who hit it about 500 feet, had the old Rosenblatt. This isn't the Lance Berkman Rice Owls. This is the modern Rice Owls who look more like a mid-major than they do one of the top 10 teams in the country. Like Rice was, I would say, Tommy, going back from, mid-90s for a decade and a half, for 10, 15 years, Rice was, from the mid-90s to 2010, Rice was a top 10 team. If you were to rank all the programs in college baseball during that 15-year stretch, they absolutely were a top 15 team.
I agree completely. A lot of great players, not just Berkman and Anderson. There were a lot of other guys that could really play that went through that Rice program. And they got a lot of attention for that school because back then their football team didn't get them any attention. And, so anyway, but that'll be fun. I'm going to watch the game tonight at Rice. I want to see Anderson throw. I want to see what the lineup's going to be. Coach Johnson's still shuffling all that stuff around, and I'm curious to see that. And then, of course, we had a question: will Hurd throw Friday against Texas? Well, we don't know that yet. I don't know if it'll be Hurd or Holt. It'll be one of the two, I would think. That's my guess.
Well, he's not going to tell us, because we know that Coach is not one to tell you until you have to. But Cade Anderson, not Matt Anderson, I don't know if they're related or not, will go, the lefty from the North Shore, St. Paul, who only threw one time this year, went 4 innings. His first outing looked very good. He will get the start on Wednesday night against the Rice Owls, and an opportunity for them to probably extend him 4 or 5 innings at least. And, if he gets a couple good ones in a row, maybe move his roll up a little bit more to see. I want to see, besides the fastball, how his other stuff looks. Because, with Javen Coleman, right now still to me looks like he's a little bit of a work in progress, just commanding the fastball to the degree, having the command of his pitches that you need in the SEC, not for these non-conference games, not when you're playing Stony Brook or Northern Illinois or whatever, but when you start looking at, okay, what's it going to take to win in the SEC and the full hitters and all that kind of stuff. I want to see Anderson and Coleman see what their command is like, not just with one pitch, but at least 2. So that tomorrow will be fun to watch. LSU at Rice. Tonight rather.
That's tonight.
Tonight's a Wednesday. And then this weekend, all the games will be on Astros.com. You can find it other places, but on Astros.com is where you can get it for free and watch it live. I would think Holman's going to go on Friday. To me, that would be silly for them to throw Hurd on Friday.
I agree with you. I think we'll see Holman on Friday. That would be what I'd bet a pork chop here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. That's who throws Friday.
All right, so that'll be fun to watch. I will be there, and we will. I will be calling in from Houston, from Minute Maid, on Saturday for Sports Shorts Daily, Sports Shorts Radio. Let's talk Pels for a second, Tommy. I mean, hey, they haven't played great the last couple of weeks, but you look at the West, they find themselves fifth. And remember, it's important for the team to be in the top six so that you don't have to play in those play-in games in the playoffs. Believe it or not, only 23 games left in the regular season.
Hey, it's amazing that season's just flying by. A big win on the road last night. They crushed the Knicks. Game they pulled away late. And they got back-to-back. They're on the road tonight against the Pacers. Pacers are a little bit of a favorite. 6:30 tip. We'll see if the Pelicans can get back-to-back road wins. That'd be a really good thing.
Knicks the same record as the Pels, but that was a good win for them. You mentioned to me before we went on the air here in Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino, that the NFL is kicking around, pun intended, some new rules in the kickoff game. Tell us about it.
Yeah, when they put in the thing with the fair catch last year, if you fair caught it, you got the ball at 25. That was a 1-year thing adopted and voted on by the owners. So they got to re-vote, and they're talking about possibly tweaking it because they don't want kickoffs. And in this year's Super Bowl, there were 13 kickoffs, 0 were returned. It was knocking them out the end zone. There was no returns. That's what the NFL wants because you can't get rid of the kickoff. I don't think you can do that. So that's what we got. It's going to be interesting to follow that. The NFL, I was reading some of that stuff, and I'm thinking, here it is late February. Their Super Bowl was a couple of weeks back. The NFL does a good job of getting something out there dang near every week, 52 weeks a year. The marketing team gets something out. And, of course, the draft's coming up, and there's a lot of talk about what quarterbacks, and a lot of talk about Jaden Daniels. The combine is going on right now in Indianapolis, but the combine's about to go away, like other things that went away, because nobody wants to work out. They'll do the interviews, which is they're going to do, but nobody wants to work out. They're going to wait to do their pro day at their respective schools. So I don't know if the combine, which was once it was on TV, on the NFL Network, it was a big, big thing. That's lost a little bit of its glitter, kind of like the old recruiting bash went away in college. Well, the combine in the NFL, that's going to just turn into, pro days at different schools. And keep in mind, when you have a pro day at LSU, you could have a player or two from Southern there. You could have a player from Nichols. It's not like you could go to every campus.
Yeah, I hate to see that the combine goes by, but there's nothing you can do about making players participate in it. And the reality is that it used to maybe 1 or 2 players wouldn't participate in the combine, and now it's more and more and more. Or the other trendy thing is, I'll go to the combine and I'll participate in 1 or 2 of the 5, 6 things, and so I'll be curious to see what they do. The only thing that will save the combine for a little while, Tommy, is that it's content. It's eyeballs on the network. It's something to talk about. It fills a void in a time where there's really not much for the NFL. So even if it's, it's almost like something's better than nothing, and so we shall see. But getting to that NFL this year, they are throwing around the idea of not only the fair catch rule, which reminder, the ball, if it's kicked off and you catch it within the 25-yard line, 25 in, and you fair catch it, the ball will come out to the 25-yard line. I hate the fact that that's a rule because, it takes out one of the more exciting plays of the game, which is the kick return. Gone are the days of, being able to take it 100 yards to the house. Although, if you're a team and you're down and you got a special guy back there, I'm curious to see if you roll the dice or if you get to a point where people are just so used to kickoff. Do you try to sneak it onside, or pooch kick or something? Who knows? But they're going to potentially also back it up from the 35 to the 30, which would make it, make the kick further. But at the same time, that the analytics is probably everybody's probably got the analytics that show, hey, take if its ball was in the 20-yard line, take the fair catch, get it at the 25. The records show that that's better than the risk reward of starting at the 18 or something like that. I don't know. It's a shame that it's getting changed because Michael the Beer Man Lewis, you'd never know who he was if it wasn't for the kickoffs, right?
Well, Devin Hester got in the Hall of Fame because of that, and Brian Mitchell, the former Raging Cajun, played in the league a long time because of that. One other possible change, right? Instead of an onside kick, you'll have the option to go for it on 4th and 15, like from the kickoff line. It could be fourth. It'll be considered 4th and 15 for you to get possession back.
So
instead of trying the onside kick, okay, you're down by 7 points and there's 37 seconds left.
So instead of an onside kick, you can say we don't want to do the onside kick because we know the data shows that onside kicks are good 10% of the time. Recovered
2%.
by only 2%?
Like the last 5 years, only 2%.
Oh, last 5 years, 2%. Right, because they don't do the run and starts. You can't load one side of the field, all that stuff. So only 2% of the time, which is nothing. And so instead, you can say, give me the ball 4th and 15. Let me see if I can convert that.
And if you convert it, you maintain possession to try to go kick the game time field goal or to win in whatever, So I don't know if that'll get voted in because that's actually been on the table for the vote a couple of times, but it has never passed. Got to have 3/4, 2/3 of the owners, 24 of the 32 owners have to vote yes for something to change like that. So that's 3/4 have to do. You can't be just a simple majority.
I'm curious what 4th and 15 is percentage-wise on conversion, right? It's got to be better.
I'd have to look it up. It's higher than the onside kick.
Yeah.
Plus, there are more of them. There's been more 4th and 15s than there's been onside kicks.
I'm sure teams would rather put their game on the line in the hands of Aaron Rodgers than Paul Schmidt, the field goal kicker.
There you go. And like you said, because of the no run and start, you can't put 8 guys to one side of the ball. As opposed to years ago, onside kicks were a little bit more. But those onside kicks are not as successful because the other team knows it's coming. Okay, like when the Saints onside kicked in Super Bowl 44, the coach didn't. They might have said, "Hey, beware of the onside kick," but it wasn't a large focus, and they pulled it off, even though that ball bounced around a little bit. So, most onside kicks, you kind of know it's coming due to the score and the time.
All right, TK, tell us about Tremonti's before we get out of here.
Well, they sold out of crawfish again yesterday. Supply's starting to get a little better. They'll have more this Friday. You got to call in and order them. They are running out. And then now people are starting to look for some live sacks crawfish. In the next week or two, that's going to bounce back a little bit, according to Mike and his suppliers that he's used for many, many years. Lunch special today is lasagna. Come get you some and check out everything that they have here. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge.
Do you know what the price per pound is right now on crawfish?
It was $6.99 yesterday, and you had to buy at least 5 pounds. You couldn't come get 2 pounds. And, that price is going to come down a little bit. That drought last summer affected the crawfish ponds and the farmers and the people that do that thing. But it's coming back a little bit better each week.
All right, for Tommy Krysan, I'm Ronnie Rance. Thanks for watching Sports Shorts Daily, presented by L'Auberge Casino. Going by the sports book at L'Auberge Casino, the best place to watch all the games and great food and drink as well. And then don't forget, we'll be back on Friday morning for more Sports Shorts Daily. TK will be back over at Tremonti's.
Ronnie, I had some friends that were at the Edge Lounge this past Saturday night, and they had a blast. I mean, they thoroughly enjoyed themselves. It was awesome. It was great. A couple of those people had been there before. A couple of them hadn't been to the Edge Lounge yet. So, folks, check it out like we always say.
Yeah, so on the casino floor, back left, and it's got entertainment Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday nights. We'll be back on Friday. We'll see you then, everybody. Until then, be safe. Let's have a good one.